name is Chris Webb, and I am a poet, um, Christian poet. God gave me words and the ability to use them, and ever since that point, I've been going around wherever He tells me to go and saying whatever He tells me to say. So I have a little bit of time with you all today. How many people were at the coffee house open mic yesterday? Good amount, good amount, good amount. Okay, cool. Good amount of you guys. So I did some poetry there, and if you don't mind, today I'd kind of like to tell you guys a bit of my testimony, what God brought me through, and basically how God got me up on this stage. So to be completely honest with you guys, I spent most of my life, a good amount of my life, believing that I was really nothing, that there was nothing special about me, and that I couldn't really be used at all. Even as a Christian, I didn't have the thought or the mindset that God would want to use me or that He could use me at all. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my community, my city, where I come from, and just the phenomenal journey that He brought me through. So I'm going to start with a poem, a very old piece that I pray I remember. So here it is. Yo, please listen, because this piece right here is on something that hurts. This is the realest that I'll probably ever get with my work. A little boy was walking home from school a couple years back. He was 8 in the 3rd grade, and he was poor and was black. He was young and so naive about the world. He wasn't cool. The only thing he had to look up to in life for him was school. His mother prostitutes at night. His father left when he was 2. He has to scrap between his 9 brothers and sisters just for food, but it's okay, because he's a little boy with goals and aspirations, full of hope and joy and love and energy and inspiration. Just a little boy that goes to school and really loves to learn, but then, of course, some of his friends had to label him as a nerd. His peers will pick on him. Today they tore the collar on his shirt. Oh, God forbid somebody ever come to school to do their work. So losing self-respect, he walks home down the street in his own sorrow, looking forward to his homework, but just dreading school tomorrow. The walk home usually makes him happy, but today it brought him stress. Well, there's only 3 more blocks until his old housing complex. The rundown, musty little joint with no TV, windows, a phone. The jail that he, by circumstance, was simply forced to call his home. But that's okay, because in a couple years, he'll pay more than the rent. He had a dream to grow and be the very first black president. Then he wouldn't wonder where to get his clothes. He wouldn't care. I could do it all, he thought, if I could just get out of here. Well, there's 2 blocks left until the certain safety of his room. And maybe time will pass a little faster if he hums a tune, but no good tunes came to his mind, because on the street, he is a foreigner. At least there's 1 block left from home after he turns this corner, but he turned it, and he met a force that knocked him off his feet and sent him flying through the air and landing hard on the concrete. Someone ran into him hard and knocked him down and went ahead. If he didn't fall in his backpack, he would have cracked his head. He looked up at the dude who hit him as he continued to run. The guy was older than he was, but you could tell he was still young. The guy smelled heavily of Black and Mild, cigarettes, and rum. He had a look of terror on his face. What was he running from? The little boy took time to brush himself off and get off the ground, but then he heard the screech of loud tires and a radio's pound. He knew that one thing happens when dudes run when others take a ride. He hit the ground with his hands on his head to shield from the drive-by. He couldn't hear a thing but gunshots, hitting walls and breaking glass. He couldn't feel a thing but wind from burning bullets as they passed. He couldn't see a thing but windows down and outstretched arms with guns. Right then he wished he was the guy with sense enough to go and run. He screamed through cries of rage and hopelessness as they drove down the block. It was after they turned the corner that he realized he was shot. He looked down at a bullet hole that shone out through his dingy shirt. He tried to touch it, but his body shook with unexpected hurt. He tried to stay awake, but he was scared and he was blacking out, and death was coming fast, filling his every thought of life with doubt. A kid was shot down in the street. He had no other price to pay. He was smart and with a good vision. Sadly, he passed away. A boy was walking down the street. He was young and so naive. He had a dream to be the president. Why did he have to leave? Now he's dead, shot down hard in the street. But in life, he was lonely, and I guess I was his only friend. So rest in peace, my homie. So I wrote that piece in the 8th grade. It was just about my community and a lot of things that were going on there. Now, the city that I come from is Cleveland, Ohio. And a lot of you might not know about Cleveland, but I'll just give you a little background on it. In the past decade, Cleveland, Ohio was the poorest city in all of America. Now, you got at least like 200 major cities in America. Cleveland, Ohio was number 1, the poorest in all of America, twice in the past decade. They do the yearly polls of, crazy cities, like prosperous cities, wealthy cities. They also do like poor cities and dangerous cities. Every year, Cleveland is either 9th or 10th in danger. This year it was like the 7th most deadly. And everywhere, every poll that you get, like Cleveland always ranks like toward the bottom half of it. Most time when people think of Cleveland, they think of, LeBron left, man. That's the spot LeBron left from to go to Miami. But like, there are so many other crazy things that happened in that city. And in that city, the poorest city, the most dangerous, I was born and raised in one of the poorest areas of the poorest city of the United States. So, like, anything that you could imagine going on in a American slum, that's what I grew up around. A lot of drugs, a lot of gangs. That story that I told, like, that poem that I just did, happens all the time. And, a lot of you are from New York. You guys see, like, that. There's some people from Philly. There's people from all around. Like, there's danger everywhere. And I was raised in it. My school, where I went to junior high, it was separated by gang boundaries. The school was ran by the gangs. And it's a junior high school. Can y'all believe that? If you had a certain class, say I had a class in the hallway, and the hallway was operated by a gang that wasn't from my neighborhood, I couldn't go to my class. The hallways were separated by gang boundaries, so you needed a hall pass from the hood just to go to class. So that's the environment that I grew up in. And in a place where there's depression, in a place where there's poverty, like hope and purpose and destiny and all those things that we speak about in our faith, like, it's so very, very hard to believe. So I grew up believing that there was no purpose for me, for the world, for anything. And I would try to speak out, but hey, I was just hopeless. I have a track over there. If we could cue that track up very quickly, then I would really appreciate it. I'm gonna do a song that kind of spoke about the hopelessness that I felt even in the midst of the church. So just let me know when the track is ready. Well, matter of fact, when the track is ready, just hit it. I'll stop talking and start rapping. So. There it is. All right. So this is me, a young kid. I really want to tell you about the way it used to be when I was just a younger cat. In my neighborhood, it wasn't good. It made me want to leave like a running back. And everybody wanted help, but the people who could help was only wanting crack. And people said that God could save us, but I looked around my hood and wondered where he at. My god brother died last night. My little cousin selling that white. My sister is a mother, not a wife, who got a kid without a father in sight. this is God's will for our lives. God must like seeing us die. Church say we covered, but my hood say God likes seeing us suffer. I'm sitting on the porch writing rhymes, trying to keep the tears out my eyes. Like, do we really care about our lives? Do you really care about our cries? I put my hood up, then I sidewalk to the bus stop and check the time. I gotta get away and stay alive. I can't be just another caught with crime. The preacher tell us it's gonna be fine. Just put your $20 in the basket. But my homie lying in the casket. My lights off like we blew a gasket. When I'm singing in the choir, if only they knew I was uninspired. I'm singing about a God that I don't even know about. I wish that I could feel his fire. Small, so I'm always being tried. It's like I wasn't built to stay alive. And they push me around at the school. I ain't really got no place to go. I ain't really got no food to eat. It's wintertime, but we ain't got no heat. And the preacher tell me God is good, but y'all, I guess God forgot about the hood. I'm working this grave ship. Hood's like a slave ship. I wish I could stare right into God's eyes. Past the skies. I've been working this grave ship. Hood's like a slave ship. I wish I could stare right into God's eyes. Past the skies. I like it when the rain fall here, air get cold, leaves turn brown. It's almost like I hear your voice and see you cry when rain touch ground. I know I'm only here for a little while, then I'm up in that ground. And I'm hoping that there's more to life than what I see when I look around. Yesterday I seen a baby shirtless. Are you telling me she got a purpose? I don't know, man. Every time we cry, have you heard us? And I'm sorry for my sinning. I know that you don't like the way I'm living, cause my faith always shriveled up like a black girl hair when the water hit it. And God, Joe, I know you looking out, but I gotta be honest, fam, I got some doubts. I know we got free will, but man, that's a bad thing around here. Free will got my friend cut so deep that he'll never heal. I wonder how you must feel seeing all the people you may kill. Seem like everybody lost and they don't really know why they was made to live life. I know I'm doing all this other extra stuff to try to find what feel right, but I ain't find it in the sex, money, drugs, swag, gangs, of fights. And I'm tired of looking and not knowing what I'm looking for. I know I ain't right. I'm working this grave ship. Hood's like a slave ship. You know, at this point in my life, at this point in the story of my life, I was just at a point where I was fed up. I was like, God, I hear all this stuff about purpose. I hear how much you love me, but I see so much pain and destruction going on. And I know that we have free will, but there's so much that I don't get. Like, I want to get it right. And I was at a point where it's like, if I'm going to serve you, I got to work this out. And I really need to know. So here's the last verse. So if you gave me free will and you told me how to live right, but instead I go and live wrong, and I don't be in my kid life because my dad wasn't in mine, and to stay alive I had to fight. But if I lose, I blame it on you and say God don't care, right? What if you do care, though, and I'm blaming stuff on you that ain't even you? Like when my mama almost died, I looked at you and asked you, hey, yo, God, what did you do? But folks kill out of free will, not from your will. You don't tell them to. So how I'm getting mad at the people disobeying you, then blame it on you. But if we all followed you, then the hood wouldn't suck, cause dudes wouldn't kill, crack wouldn't sell. You ain't the mean one. We abuse our free will. You don't want us here because I don't listen to your voice. My life is full of flaws, but if I start listening, maybe I'll find a purpose after all. If I stop doing me, maybe I could be the change that I want to see. God, if you there and you care, could you come down and change me? Can't find peace in my hood, maybe I could find peace in you. And if you change me, maybe other dudes will see and they'll get changed too. Maybe Jesus is a way to take all the pain away and show us all the truth. Maybe I could make a change, finding something that's worth living for too. Maybe I ain't gotta fight, I ain't gotta bang, and I ain't gotta move. Maybe all the answers to the questions that I'm looking for is right there in you. Working this grave ship, hood's like a slave ship. I wish I could stare right into God's eyes, way past the skies. So that's that one. Thank you. So, I was focused so hard on just the problem that I didn't think about the grandeur and just the the mass scale of the solution. Like, I would look around at circumstance. I would look around at how bad things seemed to be, that I didn't think of the God that was so much greater, and the God whose love just, just encompasses so many different aspects. I would see news reports and just get caught up in that. I would see, my family struggling. I would see, like, our lights get cut off, or, us get, like, rodent infestations or whatever, and never think of the Lord, man. And no matter how bad things seemed physically, like, God was always greater. And I would always hear that at church. Like, a lot of us grew up at church, so we would always hear things like, yo, God's greater, but when you really, I almost dropped this off stage, that was bad. When you really think about, when you really, like, put it into application, that's when you start seeing the fruit of it. So, how did I go from, like, all this bad thought, all this crazy stuff, to really thinking about the greatness of God? I'll tell you how. So remember when I spoke about my junior high, the really ghetto, crazy, gang boundary school? Y'all remember? Y'all remember? Hey, there you go. They live. So, yes. I transferred from that school. God made a way for me to transfer out of that school and go to a art school. There was one art school in Cleveland called the Cleveland School of the Arts. And I always did, like, poetry. Like, the piece that I did, that was one of my community We Need to Change pieces. So I go to this art school. Mind you, I'm unsaved at this time, so I'm still very depressed about what's going on in my city and all this stuff. I go to this art school, and I'm 15 years old, and it's a new school. I'm like the one kid from the bad school, so I have the bad boy reputation. You probably won't believe it looking at me with these shorts on, but I had the bad boy reputation. And I go to the school, and there's this one girl there who was just, I don't know. It was something about her. Every time I would see her in the hallway, it was like all time slowed down. Like, I'd be walking with my backpack and my books and whatnot. I'd look up and she'd be there, and it's just slow motion. And who's that lady? It was phenomenal, yo, phenomenal. So, mind you, like, it's high school. They had homecoming or whatever, and I was like, yo, I gotta take you to homecoming. So we started talking and whatnot, and all while we were talking, like, there were so many girls in the school, but it was something about this one. We were talking, and she would always say, like, yo, I'm a Christian. Yo, Chris, I'm a Christian, and mind you, in the poem that I just did, in the rap that I just did, I was talking about being in church and being depressed and not understanding the gospel, not understanding Jesus. But in the meantime, I was still at church, so I still thought, yeah, I'm a Christian too, So she would say, like, Chris, I'm a Christian, Jesus is just so good. And I'd be like, yeah, yo, I'm a Christian too, but how you doing, baby, So, like, that kind of kept on going. We started, talking more, saying that we liked each other. I mean, 15, 14, it was whatever. But as a 15-year-old bad kid, I could say it, we're all adults here. As a 15-year-old bad kid, I was like, okay, I would like to take things to the next step, You're 14, I'm 15. I think we're old enough to go there. and I was kind of nervous because she was very innocent, and I was just a bad kid all around. And so I went and proposed that to her, and she said no. And I asked her why. She said, because I'm a Christian. And I said, I am too, but why? Needless to say, there was something off in my thinking, and there was something that she had, that she possessed as a Christian, that me as a Christian did not possess or just did not understand. And it was through God using a 14-year-old girl in the middle of, she just started high school. It was through God using a 14-year-old girl to take a stand that led me to Christ, and that's one of the reasons why I'm up here today. So there's some people here who look very, very young. If you think that you taking one stand, one small stand, won't be beneficial, I mean, just think about that. Without that girl, who knows where I would be? Without that one stand, without that one deniance, who knows if I'd be up here today. So when that happened, you know, we started talking and our conversation started shifting. My conversation stopped being like, yo, who's that lady? You know, how you doing? To like, what is the reason why she's standing out? I started realizing that what I was looking at when I would see her and when I would talk to her was God working through her. And that's what I was attracted to. That's what I like couldn't take my eyes off of. I mean, she was amazing, mind you, but like it was the Lord speaking through her, and I wanted that. That's what I started to want. Because if people saw that change, if people saw that thing when they looked at me, then maybe they could get sparked how I got sparked. You know what I'm talking about? Cool. Yeah, so I started chasing God with everything that I had, and I realized that me thinking that I didn't have purpose, me thinking all of the things that I thought were just crazy, and God completely restored me. So I started to dedicate my gift, my writing, all the stuff that I did to Him, and this is like one of the first pieces that I wrote once that change happened in me. So here it is. They are getting it in the other room. Y'all hear that? Shoot. I'm going there. Okay, sorry. Here we go. I'm sorry, they are getting it. Okay. I have to be professional. All right. Well, God, I thought I had it covered, but this life just drove me crazy. Shame and pain. In vain, it gave me tears and turned my eyesight hazy. I was lost and empty, broken, torn, abused, and insufficient. Everybody knew their purpose on this earth, but I was different. I was goalless, soulless, loveless, heartless, speechless, hurt, and poor. And every morning I woke up just made me hate life even more. I didn't want to live. I didn't know which way my life was pointing, but I didn't know me being different was just my anointing. I had no idea that any good would come out of my stressing. I did not know that my hard times would result in me with blessings. Life is crazy, but without God, life is death, and I can't face it. God, I need you to protect me. Substitutes cannot replace it. No comparison, no wealth. Nothing can match to your protection. There's no earthly thing that feels as good as having your direction. It's perfection. I believe you, Lord. I trust you and I love you. And in all my life, I swear I'll never put nothing above you. God, I love you. God, I love you. And I can't wait till you take me, till you grab me like a mother to a child and you save me. What a day. But hey, until then, I'ma let go and let you, because you're the only one that has a heart that's pure and love that's true. And I'm so sorry for the things I've done. I'm sorry for my sinning, but I'm ready to let all that go and start a new beginning. No more cussing, no more fighting. Drop the sex and the addiction. I need increase and protection after I got your conviction. I got love because I got you, and I got peace because I got you, and I'm excited, lighted. Writing can't explain how I love you, but God, I do. I love you too, and I'm going to prove that this is true. It ain't no scheming, lying demon gonna block me from your view. Hey, God, you got this, and I just want to declare from my mouth, and if you all agree with me, then just feel free to stand and shout and raise your voice and clap your hands and stomp around if you believe it. God has blessings for each one of us if we could just retrieve it. So receive it and accept it, and He'll make your spirit spotless. I'm going to let go and let you, because in the end, hey, God, you got this. So you can see the change almost immediately, just out the blue, just crazy night and day. As soon as I discovered who Jesus was, outside of church, outside of, just going there and singing in the choir and, doing all the Easter plays that we did, like, as soon as I discovered who Jesus was, my whole life changed, man. And all of that hopelessness that I felt, all of that craziness in my community and whatnot, like, Yeah, it was still there. It was still present, but I understood the context. I understood that it was a people whose hearts were turned against God. It was people that were exactly how I was. They just didn't know who Jesus was. So it became my mission to tell everybody who I came in contact with about Jesus, because that was the hope that I had. And I knew that if they found the hope that I had, man, like things were going to change. My city was going to change. This nation, this world will change if people discover who Jesus is. They build their house. So that became my mission. I started going around. I was still doing plays. I was still in the art school and whatnot. But I switched from that bad boy image to the school Christian. How many people back in school had that one Christian dude? Nobody. Wow, y'all went to some really messed up schools. Y'all didn't have a Christian dude? Are you serious? The one dude who was toting the Bible. Are you serious? There was not the Christian dude. Wow, okay. Well, okay, in certain schools, there's always one guy who has a reputation of being the Christian. He, like, carries the Bible or, like, runs the school Bible study in some schools, apparently not yours. My school, I kind of became that guy. From the bad boy image, I completely swapped up. So kids would come up to me asking me to pray or asking me different things about the Bible. And I started going around to churches. Kids would see me, like the bad kids. I'd be at school, and it'll be the main kids fighting and cussing and going crazy. On Sunday, I'll be ministering at a church, and I'll see that kid in the choir. I'll see the bad kid, and I'm like, yo, you're suspended right now, you know? It's crazy. But yeah, so I started going all around, and God started like elevating the platform, and next thing you know, I graduated, and I was able to go to school in California, and all through that, like, you know, things were still happening in the city, but I still just wanted to tell people about Jesus. So all the different things that started happening, they just became higher platforms for me to talk to folks about Christ. And like there was so many crazy things that were going on. Like I don't want to start in it, but you know, the city was still the city, and there's still so much that needs to be done. And I really feel a call for people who are downtrodden, for people who feel like there's no hope and feel like there's no purpose, whether they're like, you know, completely outside of God's hands, or whether they're like in the church and just might not really fully understand everything that we go to church for. Like, my heart is for those people. And there might be, there might be a couple in this room. There might be a couple outside of this hotel. Like, and it just excites me that there's so much. Like, it really encourages me and convicts me, but it excites me that there's so much work to be done. Because, man, if you could get sparked how I get sparked, and if I can get sparked how you get sparked, the next thing you know, we'll take that fire, we'll take that spark, and encourage others to build the church upon a solid rock. So, in the midst of all the craziness, I used to just hear a wild news report and get so depressed, so angry, so pissed. Like, last week, there was a ruling in the Trayvon Martin case, and like before that, there was something else that happened, and you know, there's always something crazy going on. You can bank on, like, you can't predict anything in the world right now, but you can predict that something crazy is going to happen in the next couple of months, whether it be a tragedy, whether it be a natural disaster, whether it be anything, and a lot of people, their first thoughts are like, okay, where was God in the midst of this? If God is so good, then, you know, why would he let this happen? I'm going ahead of myself. But throughout this, I realized that the only thing that stays the same, the only constant factor, besides the fact that something crazy is going to happen in this world, the only other constant factor is that God is still going to be God. Y'all feel me? So, this piece is called The Only Thing. I look down at my shoes and see they're getting old every day. I make new friends, but it feels like my old ones keep going away. And nothing really stays the same. Folks move, grow up, leave out, work jobs. It's like the only thing that never really changes here is God. My city's building streets and tearing down the place I went to school. Folks keep on moving. Some go forward, some go backward, but they move. From Ronald Reagan to Obama, from the jerk to lean and rock. Time keeps on turning like the world. The only peace out here is God. I check the clock and chaos happens every day. People keep falling. There's corruption in our churches. In our streets, the devil's calling. News gets more and more insane. People keep getting stabbed and robbed. And it seems like the only stable name to call on here is God. My friends are busy all the time. My family's out. I'm all alone. It's late at night. I don't got nobody. I'm searching through my phone. The folks I thought were down for me left me like a broken iPod. And now there's no doubt in my mind that I could only trust in God. There's nothing else. There's no one there. His words are what I will believe in. When it's cold, I gotta trust that he will wake me when I'm dreaming. When it's hot, then I'll believe he'll send the wind and bring the rain. And when nobody's down for me, I'll lean on him to take the pain. God, take my brain and take the strain. I need his voice to calm my screams. I need his touch to take my stress. I need his peace to never leave. I need his hands to hold my heart. I need his word to guide my life. So when I see these news reports, I'll hear him saying it's all right. I've come to this conclusion. Earth ain't earth without words from his lips. Folks say that God might not be real, but he's the only thing that is. This present time, these friends, this church, this poem will soon all be the past. But I just realized that only what you do for Christ will last. My shoes are fading out. My swag will lose its touch in like 2 years. But God's the only thing that was there, is here now, and will be there. That means that movies, money, sex, respect, and weed is meaningless. The songs we listen to, the conversations, all of it is hit. But like MJ, man, this is it. If you don't live for Christ, you're dead. I'm sorry. How else could I say this? Let's all get it through our heads that if it's not his will, we need not be concerned. Money will go. Cars will break down. Friends will fall out. Couples will break up. Folks get old. The thing that sticks, man, is your soul. And that's the only thing worth keeping. And man, Jesus died so that our souls could fly and not be bleeding. So stop bleeding and accept him. Know that all you need is faith. And if you just focus on following him, then things will fall in place and things will change. But turn away and know he's there through cold and hot. And as this world keeps going mad, the only thing we need is God. Man, so I stood on that. I live that. I believe that. Coming from my young homie getting shot on his way home from school, coming from all the crazy stuff that happened in my city, the seventh most dangerous city in all of America, coming from me being in California, waking up to go to class in my dorm room, logging on Facebook to see how my friends are doing and seeing that they died last night. Coming from all that, I realized that the only constant factor, the only thing that we could ever stand on, the only foundation that we can build on is Jesus Christ. Because that is the only sustaining factor. Like, all else could pass. Everything else could crumble. Matter of fact, not everything else could. Everything else will crumble. But the only thing that is stable that we can rely on is Christ. So I started telling people. And then as I started telling people, poetry became a thing. And next thing you know, I'm going all around. And, you know, it's been a pretty wild ride. And through it all, man, I just keep in my mind that I'm that young boy from Cleveland who never thought that God could use him. I would always tell God, like, yo, man, like, I'm one dude. Like, I'm just one little poor boy from Cleveland. Like, look at me. I'm still super skinny. Like, there's not much impressive. It's like I'm just a dude, you know. I never would have thought that. 4 or 5 years later, I'd be standing here. I'd be going where I'm going. I'd be doing what I'm doing. And it's nothing about me. Like, it's nothing about like, whoa, this dude's super talented with poetry. That's the reason why he's out there. No, God can use you doing exactly what you do. I mean, you hear me about to drop the water bottle and talking about them in the other room. Like, there's nothing special. Like, really, it's nothing but Jesus Christ working through me. And that same spirit that's in me is in you. So, man, don't be afraid to really step into what he's called you to do. So, I think I'm almost going on time. I have one more piece that I'm going to do. So I was tripping. I was going through like so much, going from place to place, really ministering, really going crazy. And I would do pieces like The Only Thing, talking about the only thing we need is God. And tragedies would happen, crazy stuff would happen. And I would watch people. When bad things happen, they would constantly just turn their faces to God and be like, you're not real, because bad things happen in their life. And it will make me so angry that these dudes would come up and just diss God when bad things would happen in their life. I'm like, you don't know who God is. You don't know what he has planned. You don't know what he has in store. And I would almost be like a Pharisee to these people who, turn their faces to God and asked, where are you in tragedy? I used to hate to see that until God brought me through something in my life that made me ask the same question. So this final piece is called SOS, and it deals with a time when I turned my face to God. In the midst of knowing that the only thing we need is God, I turned my face and asked him, hey, where are you? So this is SOS, my final piece. True story too, by the way. Well, God, mom's in critical condition. Dad has cancerous prostate. My sister had to quit her job, and me, I might not graduate. Must be one of little faith, because I don't believe you got this. Stuff happens to a lot of other folks I know, but not Chris. God, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm saying. God, you know my family's what holds me together, so I'm praying. I know you're stronger than anything, and I'll never forget it. Nothing can separate me from you, but this could if I let it. God, I feel space getting farther between me and you from this. My sis put plans on hold. My mom's a crash victim. My dad is sick. My home is broken. My degree might not come, and my friends were killed. My dad can't pay bills, so our house is up for grabs. God, are you there? Can you see and feel what I feel? Is this where your will's gotta be? I said your plan and not mine. I ain't say strike down my family, no disrespect. But honestly, I have no idea what you're doing. And I never felt like giving up before, but something's brewing. Car parts kept my mom from moving with broke bones and a cut face. And my chest must have been in her hands, because my heart's bent out of shape. But God, I want to keep my faith, but I just want to have some peace. I want to believe that you got it in control, but God, I'm weak. I want to read your word, but it's hard to flip pages in a storm. I asked for prayer from churches, but they just asked me to come perform. No lie, I'm worn, I'm broke, I'm mad, and inside I feel like I'm dying. These poems help folks, but deep inside I feel like giving up trying. And I've talked about your freedom, but all I feel is my hurting, like a slave describing sky. My hope feels like it's just performing. I don't know if I could hold on any second, any minute. So I'm praying here confused, because the answer's not in sinning, but I don't think I could hold on any second, any minute. And it makes me want to just go to a club and say, forget it. I've never been this weary. If you hear me, I am broken. I don't want to say another poem until my heart is open. I spend all my poems so critical of sinners and the church that I've never stopped to think about the folks out there that hurt, the folks that can't see where you're headed, the folks with unanswered pain, the folks that just get lists of rules from churches but no help in straying, the folks embarrassed and ashamed, the folks that feel like you forgot, the folks that say you can't exist because the bad things never stop. I'm broken now. But some folks get broke and they turn to you to pray. But if they don't think that you answered, then those same folks fall away because they don't think that you're working and they don't think that you love us. But what if it is your plan and we're exactly where you want us? Like for me, I put my trust in you. Then after that, you broke me. But I think you broke me not so I'll stay broke, but so you'll show me that just like you're here in sunshine, you're in earthquakes and in tests. And honestly, this world does not revolve around my happiness. For as long as I draw Earth's air, there will be heartache and be pain. But losing faith because of that's like cursing you because of rain. Yes, God, I'm tired, but you're not. Yes, God, my dad's sick, but you made him, and he put his trust in you, so he'll be with you if you take him. Yes, my mom is critical, but you're all powerful. We're not. And yes, my situation's bad, but I know you, and you are God. And it don't matter how alone I feel. Life crushes, but you see me. This ain't heaven. This is earth, so life ain't all finna be easy. But when pain comes, I rely on you to heal from deep within, and I won't use your slow response as an excuse to go and sin. I'm overwhelmed, can hardly stand, but family can't compare to you. Nor can disease, disaster, famine, or nothing this world can do. You're God, you're mighty. I'll hold my end of the deal up. Here's my life. You can do what you want with me. I'll just be right here for the ride. And if your plan requires pain, I know your hand dispenses peace. And if I can't stand on my own, it's probably because you want me weak. And if we just can't shake the pain, it's because it can't be shook alone. And if you feel beat up and worn, it's because he wants you to come home. So if you're tired and you're weary and you carry heavy loads, people, it's all right to believe that we're about to lose control. It's probably because he wants to take control and make you whole. So lift your eyes to Jesus Christ. There you'll find healing for your soul. God bless you.